my name is Valéry Clavien. We opened with Nicolas Rossier for something like 7 years ago our structure. Since the beginning we are located here in Geneva, and we are working through Switzerland. We are working in the Valais, on the Arc Lémanique, wherever we find job, of course, and project to be realized. So yes, we are a small structure. We are 7 people yet, something like this. And but after 7 years, it's a good thing. We are slowly going up, and hope that it's gonna last. Yeah. In every project that we are doing, we are looking for not something specifically the same, but we are looking to that we follow general lines, and in each of our work usually we can find some subjects that are still remaining through the different projects. For example, the fact that things has to be that have a substance, that they have a depth, that they are really that they have a body. These kind of things, things that we are building, we are really working for that they will stay really long. The idea is really that we got some lines in our project, and one of the main goals that we are trying to reach is really to have that we are building something that really is going to last. It's not just happening architecture or this kind of things, but should be really something that can stay there. In 150 years, that will still fit into the urban context, for example. It has to be new. It has to be to work with the time in which it was built, of course. But it's very important that the project is made in a way that it can be reused. That's very important. So it's maybe a structure. It's maybe something that is one day a house and can be maybe in 50 years be transformed, and the structure is as strong that it gives the possibility to be reorganized in a way. So that's very important. There's the idea, okay, that it's not just one function. It's maybe it can have more lives than just one. Okay. Of course, everyone is influenced by people, by what we are seeing. Of course, by architects, of course, also. But it's not so that we are really thinking in a specific architecture where we are building a project. Quite often we can look at it maybe after in project, but sometimes it's more we are looking to make the project like a boat, or trying to make the project, I don't know, like a stone or something like this, and that it reacts in a certain way that is not really related to a specific reference. For example, the idea that it can move, that it has a specific shape that gives a direction, or this kind of thing. That's more important, I would say, that just a reference to a kind of architecture or to a specific person or something like this. So the idea that so in this kind of logic, then we have the possibility to be influenced by a lot of things. Can be elements that are just in the surroundings, can be logical element, and can be architects also, of course. It's based on Swiss architecture. It depends on the site. It depends on a lot of things, but usually we really like that it corresponds. That it's not imported from I don't know where, from the States or something like this. That we are trying to have a logic of construction that is really founded in something that is existing, for example, in the area, that is not something that is just coming from outer space, and this is very important, I would say, to try to make something new, but with tools that are very usual. We try to give to the object, I mean, a specific identity, and this identity comes from sometimes a story. Quite often we are building stories when we are designing the project. Is really okay. What happens if the whole moves? What happens is these kind of things, these kind of thoughts that are not really directly related to architecture in a way. And quite often we are trying to give a specific personality to the project. We see very often the project as an object in a way, not really like something like a system or something that it has to be. It has his own personality, and we try to give it like a marionette. You just make a smile with some. You add some hairs on it, and at the end, the project should really look not really like a person, but maybe in a way, yes. So it depends really. It is not systematically the same, of course. It depends really on the client. So, for example, the first house that we built in the Valais. People just wanted at the beginning conserve a lot of elements from the existing barn, and we had a lot of discussion to convince them that we should really cut off the most of the biggest part of the house. Just cut it off, cut the roof, just cut the walls, and we just kept what we just needed actually, and it was very violent in a way, a violent process, and we really had to convince them, and we were really trying to start something that they didn't want at the beginning. At the end they were convinced, of course, but it's not so that we are. I mean, it's important for a project if we want to have something at the end that is very strong, that it has its own personality, that not too much people are really in. I mean, we can do a project at 8 hands. So the project, the client, I think, should really give enough trust to the architect to let him, try to do something. At the end, he likes it or not, he can change, it's not a problem. But of course, it's a discussion also with the clients, it's also a process. But it's not so that the personality of our clients should be reflected into the project themselves. It's not really something that we are trying, no. We got a very good scene, I would say. The good quality really, I think, in the country, mostly in the Swiss German part, I would say, because they have a very longer tradition of architecture. Because they got a very good school, ETH, and from the 19th century, there was a lot of good architects that were teaching there, Semper and this kind of thing. And after you had Rossi in the 70s, so they got a very longer tradition of architecture, I would say, really, that is really best rooted, in the German part. Here it's going better in the French part, but it's really a different kind of way of making architecture. For example, in the German part, they're very keen of to continue this tradition. And because here in the French part we don't really have that much big tradition, everyone is trying to find something and find roots sometimes elsewhere. So it's a little country, but you have different kind of way of different tradition, I would say. Yeah. The situation with other countries in Europe, I think that of course it's easy it's much easier to be an architect here in Switzerland than I think for example in Portugal or in South Europe, for example. On one side there's really the possibility to easily find job. I would say that we don't really have to fight that much to have just jobs. That's not really a problem. But on the other side, it's so normed, so everything is fixed, everything is constructed here in Switzerland. We don't have that much land that we can just plan new buildings on, and that gives this is a bit frustrating because, of course, it's so much regulated that you don't really. It's not that you not can express yourself, but it's really very difficult to push through projects that are a bit out of the norm. Specifically in cities like Geneva, for example, in which if you build a building, everything is counted, the square meters per room, everything. So on one side, it's easy to find a job, and the other side is very difficult to find jobs that are really interesting. Yeah. For example, the houses that we built, one is in the Valais, and the other one was in France. It was very easy because the program was just a little house on a plot. On a lot, but if you are building, for example, in a town, in a city, we got a project here in Lausanne for a hotel, and it's very difficult to because of the regulation, because of the neighbors that are opposed to the project, and always this kind of thing. So the context is so normed, and you got so much different actors. When you're building in a city, that is very difficult to make it here in Switzerland. You have the possibility to try new things. It's not that it's not allowed or you're never going to make it, but the norm themselves. For example, if you are in the housing process, if you want to build a housing lot. You get a lot of norms that tells you that it's not going to cost that much than 600 francs on the cubic meters. So it's very difficult then to make something else than just a rectangle that is the perfect shape, that's relationship between envelope and volume and these kind of things. So. Then you don't have the possibility really to try new things, to make, I don't know, different things if you compare with what we got. I mean, it's always the same, that's why.